Stipe and Francis Ngannou. So scary.
What's the latest with John Jones?
Ooh. I don't know, man. I don't think they've reached any sort of conclusion. I don't know if they have some sort of an excuse. I don't know when the trial is. I think it's got to be sometime coming up soon, but it hasn't been in the news. See if you can find out when the trial is. It's going to be interesting. See what they say or what they think it could be. Did I tell you the craziest rumor about it? Talked about it on the podcast before. The craziest rumor was, everybody knows John likes to party. I'm not throwing him under the bus. I mean, he's even joked around. He said to DC, when DC was talking shit, he's like, I beat you after I did cocaine.
Yeah.
I mean, which was fucking hilarious. But the craziest rumor was that they cut creatine with cocaine. It's one of the things they cut cocaine with, and that they used some cheap Chinese creatine that was steroid tainted, which is apparently very common. Apparently, there's a lot of creatines and different things you take. They have trace amounts of steroids that'll show up in a test because the same vats that they make that shit in, they make steroids in, they make everything in. They're making them in China at these really shitty bulk places, and you'll occasionally get tainted supplements. Happens all the time.
Maybe they were purposely tainted.
That could happen too. We talked about that.
The greatest creatine ever. Like, dude, this shit yokes me out.
Yeah, right. Yeah, probably.
Maybe that's just the way to sell steroids. You just sell creatine, but
what's interesting, it says California State Athletic Commission, right? Because it was in California. So who gets to decide? California gets to decide? Is that how it works? Because it's the California State Athletic Commission, so they apparently get to decide what happens in his future.
Arbitration with USADA, it says.
Oh, USADA. If found guilty this time, he faces up to a 4-year ban. Holy shit.
What's the minimum, though?
I don't know. I mean, it really depends on whether or not he's got an actual excuse. If he could get that fucking dealer to get him some coke, and it's got the steroids in it... I bet you never. The problem is, you would only have a decent excuse. You wouldn't be exonerated. There would still be some sort of a penalty.
Wait a minute. Did you say they're cutting in China? They're cutting creatine with coke or with steroids?
They're using creatine to cut cocaine. So if you buy cocaine, say if you got a kilo of cocaine, you want to stretch that shit out, make it a kilo and a quarter. Oh, I got the thing, bro. Super fucking muscle dick creatine. And super muscle dick creatine has some steroids in it. And so when they're cutting this cocaine with this creatine that has steroids in it, he's snorting the coke. This is he, not meaning John Jones, a person. I'm making this up, right? I don't know what the fuck happened. No. This is the rumor.
This could be true.
The rumor is that this has been shown to test positive.
That he did coke and it had creatine in it, and the creatine had steroids in it.
The rumor is that is what people think could be a possibility. Because if John likes to party, and we know John likes to party, it is entirely possible that he might have partied and that he might have just had a little bit of that. And in that was this creatine. Because, like, if you think about it, they're cutting with all kinds of different stuff, right? They cut it with, I mean, I'm not a cocaine doctor, but I got to imagine they take some white shit that looks like coke and you can make more coke, right? That's what the cutting is, right?
Yeah. But to cut it with creatine.
Apparently it's common. We looked it up. We actually Googled it. Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying that he was taking creatine and it was tainted with steroids. That's what I thought.
No, but see, that would be better for him. If that was the case, that would be good. Because that way you could take that creatine to USADA and you'd have to have it on a list of shit you were taking. You say, look, it just says it's creatine. That's all I took. And they tested. They're like, oh, shit, this does have steroids in it. And then they'll go and find another one that's like from the same vat. They can find like the VAT numbers, I guess. They'll find one independently, hopefully from a store. And if they test that, if they find a trace amount of steroids in that, and that's what got Dirty Bird, Tim Means, he got off for that. That's how he got off. He didn't take any steroids, just took some fucking over-the-counter normal supplement that wasn't supposed to have steroids in it. And then he tested positive. He was stunned. And if you look at Tim, he even lifts weights. He doesn't remotely look like a guy who uses steroids. And they tested the stuff that they found just randomly in the store, and that tested positive. So he only got a short amount of a suspension. Yeah, he was pretty quick, like 6 months or something like that. But even then, if you didn't do anything wrong, why would you get 6 months?
And so you're saying that the steroids are in creatine on accident, not like they're not doing it on purpose, right?
No. Well, here's the thing. This is just speculation, right? I'm hearing a rumor, right? But the speculation is that these labs where they make creatine. They also make a gang of other things, right? They'll cook up some steroids for you, whatever the fuck the order is, right? And they're not cleaning those vats out right. So if they're just pouring another bag, they pour out the steroids and they pour a bag of creatine in there for the next batch and they're mixing everything up, it's entirely possible that trace amounts of those steroids are getting into that stuff. When we first started doing Alpha Brain, we had some of the early versions tested, and when we got the stuff mixed from a place, the place didn't do a very good job of cleaning out their equipment. We had vitamins in our Alpha Brain that weren't in there. We had some stuff that's not supposed to be in there. So when we tested and we found trace amounts, we had to switch what we were doing. We had to change how we have the things manufactured. That's a super common thing when you're dealing with these overseas laboratories that are making all your shit together. So that's one possibility. Another possibility that I've said before that a lot of people say I'm fucking crazy, somebody could have given him something. Somebody could have given him something to fuck with him. Somebody could have not liked him. Somebody could have done that too. I'm not saying that's what happened, but I'm saying you have to take into consideration all the possibilities. If John is telling the truth and he's totally stunned by this, there's a lot of different possibilities. And one of them could easily be somebody giving it to him. It also could be that he took steroids. That's possible too. I don't know.
If you owned a creatine company, you'd kind of want your creatine to be. Can you? You guys are making steroids there too, right? Okay, cool. Can we use the same vats?
Mix that shit up, kid.
And then you could always just say, hey, you know what? I didn't know that.
It's true. Yeah, you know, they do that with those dick pills, apparently. Those gas station dick pills, they have like generic Viagra in them. That's why they work so well.
Move. Oh, yeah. No, they just use the same vats. Your Honor, we didn't know that they use the same vats.
Yeah, they do that, and they also put steroids in those things too. Do you know Brian Redband was the first one to call that John Jones had taken dick pills? That's why he tested positive. Redband put it together in his head because he does coke. He's like, look, you do coke, your dick doesn't work. Your dick doesn't work, you take those gas station dick pills. He probably took one of those pills. He goes, I take those pills and feel like a fucking animal. He's like, I feel like I've got steroids in me. I'm like, really? He goes, yeah, you get real aggressive. Your dick is hard as a fucking piece of metal. I'm like, okay, all right. Turned out he was right. That's crazy. And it was the same thing with Anderson Silva. When Anderson Silva tested positive, it was from some sort of Chinese dick pill stuff. And they found it and they tested it.
Redband does coke.
He's done it. He doesn't do it all the time, but he's done it. So he knows what it's like to party. And that's what he was saying. He's like, I know what it's like if you're partying. He's like, your dick doesn't work. He's like, he parties, right? Yeah. Well, he probably did because he tested positive for coke. He's like, he probably does that. Redband totally nailed it.
Or maybe he was doing ecstasy. People take Viagra on ecstasy, you know?
Yeah, could be that too.
It's happened.
Yeah. Look, he's a wild motherfucker and he likes to party. The question is, did he actually take a steroid with the intention to cheat? That's what we don't know. He says he didn't. I wish there was a way that you 100% could tell if someone was lying. 100%.
You watch that Black Mirror episode where everything's being videotaped with their contact lenses?
Yes.
So they're just like reviewing everything they've said?
Yeah, that freaked me out. That's coming. Probably the most minor of brain damages. Probably the most minor because I stopped when I was 21.
Yeah, what's your number?
How many times did I get hit?
No, I mean, like, how many times do you think, like, oh, that did damage?
Oh, 100%. There's a bunch of them. There's a bunch of them that I could think back about getting rocked and feeling my knees go, like getting punched, and then keep sparring. Spar 2 more rounds with that guy. Spar 3 rounds with another guy. He's hitting you in the face, too. Like, you didn't stop. It was really dumb. You'd get hit, and you'd get rocked. And nobody like sat you down and go, okay, let's take the day off. No, you get right back in there, man. Your fucking legs would go bang, like your legs would go and you cover up and people would be throwing bombs on you and you'd next day sparring again.
Is there a way to detect it, like get your brain scanned so you can see?
There's better ways now, but I had a limited amount of it. I mean, I had the real getting wrapped in the head for me came when I tried to transition from Taekwondo to kickboxing. Like doing Taekwondo, I definitely got hit in the head, for sure. But I didn't get hit in the head as much. Because it's hard to kick people in the head. You definitely get hit. I mean, I don't know how many times. I definitely got hit. But I never got knocked out from a head kick. But I got knocked out from punches before. Wow. Or at least TKO'd. I got TKO'd. But when a punch hits your face, it's like your legs go, everything like shuts off. Like if you get rocked and you see like a person go down, it's not that they go down like, oh, there's so much pain, I have to go down. No, you get hit and everything shuts off. It just goes, and then you feel your legs like rubber. You're trying to stand back up. Did you just watch the last UFC where Edson Barboza head kicked Kevin Lee?
Yes.
You see that? He spinning wheel kicked him, and you see Kevin Lee's legs just go boink.
Yeah.
They just gave out for a second, and then he came back, and those ones I got way more when I was boxing. I got way more of those. Like I was not good at boxing when I first got into boxing. I was good at Taekwondo, but then I got into boxing. I was not good at it. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't understand the distance. Taekwondo, you didn't punch in the face. You only punched the body, so you had a real distorted perception of how good you were with your hands. And then once I started boxing, I was like, ooh, this is terrible. And that's when I was taking like probably the most damage of my life, of a period of like 2 years of like a lot of sparring. I did a lot of sparring. Everybody sparred. Everybody sparred with everybody. People knocked people out all the time. It's so stupid. So stupid. I see guys get knocked out. I mean, out cold, right hand to the chin. Boom! Eyes roll behind their head. Legs give out. They bounce off the canvas. They put a cold towel on him. They put some ice on his head. He gets up. He's like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. You want to keep going? Yeah, let's keep going. Let's keep going.
No.
You were just unconscious. You were just unconscious 5 minutes ago. And you want to keep sparring? This is crazy. And they'd let him. They'd let him keep sparring.
You did it from when you were like real young, right?
Taekwondo from when I took karate classes when I was 14, but when I got super serious, I was 15. It was like right at before my sophomore year of high school. So like I got into it from the time I was in the 9th grade, as I was 14, like that summer, like right after my birthday, around is when I started getting into Taekwondo. So I was probably either 14 or just turning 15.
I was gonna ask, like, was there a point you could tell where people actually could be able to knock people out and give that damage? Because there may be, but
14-year-olds can knock you out.
Probably the whole time you were.
The thing about kicks is almost anybody can knock you out. It's really crazy. Like when you think of the amount of power that you have to have, like in your legs. Like say if you decide to put a heavy backpack on, like one of those outdoorsman's Atlas trainers, and put 90 pounds on, you could walk up flights of stairs, dude. Just think of how much power that is in your legs. You could throw your body up flights of stairs for exercise. Just doosh, hoosh, 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 hoosh. Your body is whatever you weigh, 150, 200, whatever you weigh. Your body is just launching that through the air over and over and over again. Even if you're a girl that weighs 135 pounds, you're still launching 135 pounds through the air. And if that girl fucking shins you, bang, right on your temple, like goes across the jaw temple area, like blang, your legs are gonna give out, your brain's gonna shut off. If somebody hits you perfect, there's a video of I think the guy was I think it was Mighty Mo, who's this huge kickboxer. I believe he was Samoan. And I mean, just like typical Samoan dude, big, giant, fucking powerhouse of a dude. And he fought this little Thai guy. This Thai guy was 175 pounds, so much smaller than him. I mean, it was crazy to watch. And Thai guy's just moving away. And then the Thai guy roundhouse kicks him in the head. This guy, like, look at the difference in size.
Yeah.
And watch this. This dude just comes over the top. I mean, the difference between the two of them. Mighty Mo is a beast, too. Seriously dangerous knockout puncher. He put a lot of guys to sleep. So not is this guy in there with someone way bigger than him, but he's in there with a killer. But boom, look at that. One head kick, and Mighty Mo's down and out. Back that up again, because that is a crazy thing to watch. You're talking about a guy who might have been 100 pounds lighter than him. And Mighty Mo's just a vicious puncher. Bang! He just clanged him right in the head. That's what I'm talking about. A girl does that to you, night, night, son.
Well, yeah, I was thinking more like 2 10-year-olds. Like, can they knock each other out?
That's a good point, because the thought process is that if you teach kids technique, don't teach them to just go in these wild fucking haymaker exchanges, but teach them how to do it correctly. It's good to do it when they're young because they don't hurt each other. Because they have little tiny arms and they just kind of touch each other, and they can't really generate knockout power. They just sort of, and if they learn how to do that from the beginning and then develop knockout power on the pads and on the bag, then you develop much more technically proficient fighters rather than brawlers. So the problem with fighting is Like most people don't fight to the physical ability of their body. Like they decide like they're gonna knock this guy out. I'm gonna try to hit him with this, and they think in this real limited sort of linear, aggressive, like almost obvious manner. And then you got guys who see past that, who take things to a new place. You got guys who figure out that you can be like really elusive and confusing. And then you see those guys fight like limited, blocky, like obvious fighters. And like Anderson Silva in his prime is a perfect example of that. Anderson was an artist. I mean, you didn't know what he was going to do. He'd study you. He'd be moving around. He'd be standing in front of you. He'd be dancing. He'd just be following you around. And then all of a sudden, he'd just say, I got this motherfucker figured out. Bang! He would just move in on you. Bang! And you didn't know what was coming. Flying knee. You didn't know what was coming. Roundhouse kick, front kick to the face. You didn't know what the fuck was coming, man. It was a totally different kind of fighter. So the difference between that and a guy who's just like a powerhouse of a person and can knock guys out, but never achieves this sort of mastery of space and distance. They win fights through brawling and power and just kinetic brute force rather than artistry and avoidance and countering. Like Conor McGregor when he knocked out Jose Aldo. Perfect example. Aldo's like, fuck you. Charge at him. Conor slides back. Bop! Drops a fucking left hand on the button. Pop, pop! And he's the champ. I mean, come on. Or champ. Then became the champ.
Champ.
But that you know, that thing it's hard to figure out. Sometimes guys just decide they'd rather bite down their mouthpiece and let the fucking chips fly. It's not.
It's the funnest part of the end of a fight.
Yep.
It's like the last 30 seconds, 20 seconds when they just throw down.
They get crazy because they know there's no more time left. Yeah, they just try to win. They try to stop it. Yeah, some of those fights are awesome. Look, as a person watching, those things are awesome. There's two different parts the way I look at fights. Like, I love a good Diego Sanchez, Gilbert Melendez fight where they just fucking go crazy for 3 rounds. I love that. That was one of my favorite fights ever. But I also love real technical fights where I see like two artists trying to solve each other's riddle, trying to figure each other out, you know? Like Luke Rockhold versus Yoel Romero was that. Like Yoel just trying to figure him out. Maybe I move like this. And then boom, drops that left hand on him. Same thing with him versus Chris Weidman. He's just moving around. It's hard to figure out what he's going to do. Hard to figure out what's coming. And then whoom, flying knee to the chin or to the head. He's a great example of a guy who just figures out how to break your rhythm and figure it through rather than just running at you. Just clash. You know, Frank Mir was just talking about that Fedor fight, and he was saying that his ego got the best of him. Did you see the fight? Mm. It's a really good fight. Really crazy until Fedor KO'd him. Fedor caught him with a left hand and dropped him and put him away. But before Fedor KO'd him, Frank Mir had hit Fedor, and it got interesting in the very beginning seconds of the fight, but then Fedor hit him with a perfectly timed hip throw. Just fucking boom! I mean, sent him flying through the air and slammed him to the ground, and apparently Frank said from that moment on his ego got the best of him. He's trying to get him back, and then he wound up just getting in this crazy brawl and getting knocked out. It's really, fighting to me is so interesting. You know, it's just so interesting when you see all the different things that people can do and how they're going to match up together and what one person's going to be able to figure out how to get their ideas through. My idea is I want to kick this motherfucker in the head. How can I do this? I got to figure out how to get through. And his idea is I want to take this guy down and punch his fucking face in. How do I figure out how to do this? And then the two of them are just like trying each other's strat, and you don't really know. You don't fucking know. You don't know until they get in there for the most part. It's the greatest shit ever. Where these fucking guys were working during construction in Maine, and they rented a house. And the neighbors had decided that these people might have the corona. And so they've been there since September. They've been in the fucking town since September working on a construction site. So they chopped a tree down and blocked their fucking driveway and threatened them with guns. They have to quarantine them. They're forcing them to quarantine. Look at this.
Shit.
Group of local vigilantes try to forcibly quarantine out-of-towners. That's Maine for you.
That's fucked
That's
up.
Maine for you. Dude, Maine is a strange place. It's a strange place. Huh. You ain't never seen drunk.
Oh, God.
You never seen drunk until you seen like a bar in Bangor. Those people can throw down. And they're all in that, you know, They're in that brutal cold for a long time. They went to the mainland, were targeted because their license plate when they arrived back in Vinyl Haven, an exchange between roommates and some local residents apparently didn't go well, she said, adding that a group of local vigilantes decided to take matters into their own hands and barricade these guys into their rental property.
Oh, God.
Mrs. McDonald called the commotion a tremendous waste of resources, noting that it had drawn a response from several officials. So silly. But that's Maine. There's a lot of dummies up there. A lot of nice people, don't get me wrong, but you know there's a lot of dummies up there. They call them maniacs, and they get real mad if you make fun of Maine.
Maniac.
I had a guy screaming at me. I was telling Maine jokes in Maine. And he was screaming. He was standing up, and he was an old dude, too, pointing at me, screaming. Like, he really identified with Maine. And I was trying to understand. I go, do you identify with Maine? Do you think I'm talking about you? What's going on here, man? Why are you mad? I was making fun of the number of people that were shot by deer in Maine.
Shot by a deer.
Or shot hunting deer and mistaken for a deer. Sorry, shot by a deer. That's hilarious. And I was making this joke about it. Like, I mean, how many fucking people live here? And this guy got up, I fucking live here, screaming at me. And
God.
I was like, whoa, buddy. These are just jokes.
It doesn't make this a lot better, but this thing in Maine, it's a small island town.
Oh, even
So
worse.
They're fucking trying to keep it. That's why they're saying get back to the mainland. I was like, why are they saying mainland?
Because they're thinking someone came over there with the
Right,
cooties.
yeah.
But those guys have been there since September.
Jesus.
These people are just idiots.
I see this side too. There's another dark side of the marketplace, though. I think the news nowadays, makes a lot of money on clickbait.
Yep.
And so you now have companies, whether it's the Huffington Post or CNN or whatever, who are less interested, it seems, in objective reporting of the news and way more interested in generating clicks.
Did you
So
see
you'll-
the fucking
you'll,
Newsweek title that they put out about Trump and the Nazis, like stealing Christmas? Did you see that?
There you go. That's a classic
See if you can
example.
find it. What is that?
I'm already intrigued.
The news.
That's the world we live in.
It's such
That's
a
entertainment,
clickbaity
right?
thing.
News is entertainment now.
Infotainment.
Yeah.
Right,
And
but
that's
the
a
fact that
tragedy.
Newsweek, which you would always say,
They have to compete?
They have to compete. That's
Yeah.
what it is.
They have to compete.
But you'd always think they're measured, they're intelligent. This is Newsweek. They're
When
one of the
they
most
get-
respected.
When Chris
They have
Rock
to adapt.
when Chris
Look at
Rock was
this.
working on a bit.
How Trump and the Nazis stole Christmas to promote white nationalism.
There you go.
Jesus
hey,
Christ.
fucking slow down.
Yeah, there you
Wow.
go.
This is just
That's
as
fair.
You're gonna get Caitlyn Jenner elected president if you keep this shit up.
Exactly.
Like, you have to understand what's happening here. People are gonna go nuts.
The media's
doesn't make any
approval
sense.
rating,
The opposite.
according to some polls, the media's approval rating is in the single digits, and I think they deserve it. I really do. I am not nearly as cynical as a lot of people, but as I get older and I see how irresponsible a lot of the news is, how much money there is to be made by just hinting or sort of associating somebody's name with something
Yeah.
kind of volatile.
Sure,
and,
and
you
with
get
no
and
regard
you
whatsoever
get to
for the
sell that
repercussions.
story. You
But
sell
isn't
that
that
story.
the product of their environment? Like, they're dealing with what gets a response and what gets clicks.
It's a
So
good question.
our societies are the ones who are telling them to do this. They're not just making this shit up.
That's right.
Right? They're like, well, if we say Trump and the Nazis stole Christmas, how many clicks are we going to get?
See, but this is what they're doing is they're being
And these morons
disingenuous.
click on
Hold
it.
on, they're being disingenuous here in this article. Scroll up a little bit. Because here's one of the things it says. It says, Donald Trump wants America to think he reinvented Christmas. We can say Merry Christmas again. He has said on numerous occasions, both during the campaign of president and presidency, Christmas is back, better than ever before. He told supporters a month before the Christmas
He's just
season.
talking.
He is doing what a guy who's very persuasive does to try to get people on his camp. He's a fucking politician.
He's also got a sense of humor,
But
by
it's
the
not
way.
even true. But what he's doing here is not even true, because he in the past did a lot of tweets about happy holidays, like people pulled them up that he used to say happy holidays all the time, like
Yeah.
really recently
Yeah.
was tweeting happy holidays. And then the idea that Obama never said Merry Christmas is 100% horseshit. There's a whole video of Obama saying Merry Christmas over and over
What's
and
wrong
over
with Merry
again.
Christmas?
Nothing wrong with it. This idea is he's trying to sell people on the idea that your Christian values have been suppressed by this mediocre left-wing government, and he's stepping in here to make America great again. It's all a hustle.
Yeah.
but it's not white nationalists and Nazis. Like, you can't say Nazis. The problem is when you say that, you leave the word Nazi loses its fucking meaning.
Yeah, they're irresponsible journalists. They're not journalists. They're irresponsible.
Yeah, what he's doing is he's being a fucking politician. He's being a weasel. He's trying to pretend that Christmas was we never had Christmas before. We're gonna have Christmas now.
Yeah.
And all the dopes, all the yokels, like, yeah, bringing back Christmas, Donald.
Yeah.
You know, there's guys out there with "Make America Great Again" tattoos. You just understand this. This is real. Like, there's people with like red hat tattoos that say "Make America Great Again" on. There's dummies in every fucking quadrant of this earth.
But you know, I have to say that the mainstream media, and I know I've never been a fan of Trump, but the way they treat him with this kind of stuff that I constantly hear, this petty shit, the way he drinks water and stuff, it's made made me more sympathetic.
But he's brought it on
bro,
himself.
when you drink water
He's brought
like
it on
this,
himself.
you drink water like this.
Yeah,
I
it's
gotta talk
strange.
to you. I gotta.
He's a strange guy.
When
That's
you
not
drink
good.
12
guys. It's fucking
When
weird.
you drink 12 Diet Cokes, I mean, we're gonna fucking.
It might be true, or I don't believe it. You know, I don't know what to believe anymore.
Right.
That's the other problem.
There's another bunch of
Because he tells a lot
series
of lies
quotes,
too, though.
Series of quotes from him from back in the day saying, "Why would you drink Diet Coke? You drink Diet Coke. People who drink Diet Coke are all fat. Diet Coke makes you fat. It's been proven." There's a whole series of tweets.
Yeah.
Like, he might have just forgot he made those tweets.
Well, he's shredded.
He just doesn't give a fuck.
Shredded.
Yeah,
Jacked.
he's in great shape.
Yeah. But I think that, you know, first of all, he, as a president, here's a weird one. There was a terror attack that was thwarted by the FBI in San Francisco.
Yep.
You didn't hear a goddamn peep about it because he's against the FBI because of all this investigation shit. So the president of the United States didn't like congratulate the FBI, didn't tell the American people that the FBI has done a
interesting.
great job.
Have you
and
heard
the
about
FBI
this?
I know about that. I
FBI
know about the terrorist attack. I read
thwarted a legitimate terror attack, and this is all this whole "Make America Great Again" stuff, right? You want to stop the terrorists. He, as a political point, he avoided this.
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It's terrible.
He
FBI
holds a grudge.
Arrests man suspected of plotting ISIS-inspired Christmas terror attack in San Francisco.
It was an
in Pier
American,
39.
it was an
You and I have been
American
there many
Marine.
times.
It was a Marine who went, started going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's just
That's where we hang.
It's very crazy.
Dark in those guys.
Yeah, and how about he started to, they caught him, he started to like ISIS posts on Facebook, and then he reached out to ISIS and went, hey, looking to complete this mission, how do I get a hold of the guns and bullets? And ISIS is like, homeboy, if you have to ask for the gear, it might not be for you.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you
like
talking
they're
about?
dumb.
Yeah,
they're
like,
gonna go meet us on the dock.
yeah, like
where the
ISIS
secret
is like,
code.
hey, asshole, get out of here,
Yeah.
man. And
Have
then he got
our
caught.
flag on your truck as you pull up. Make it super obvious.
Every time I've been Pier 39, I've been there. Every time I go to San Francisco, I always think that. I'm always like,
I don't think like that.
"Damn, this
Well, a
place
lot
looks-"
of people, though, have been making this comment on why did the president not discuss this?
Yeah.
Like, well, this is something that, like, when you address the nation, you have to talk about it. And even if he's in some sort of a squabble with one aspect of the FBI, you have to recognize that they did their job here.
Yeah.
This is why they're
Hell yeah.
important.
Great job.
Yeah, and this is why they're important. Like, they literally protected American lives, and he's not mentioning it.
Yeah, he has
so
to
this
put
petty
his-
bullshit
yeah.
that they do when they're saying things like how Trump stole Christmas with white nationalists and Nazis, that kind of petty shit enforces his petty shit.
Yep.
They-
Gets
they-
in the way of real news.
and they go at it. They go at each other back and forth, and nothing gets done.
Someone needs to grow the fuck up, and it should be the president. Probably.
but he won't.
Newsweek needs to grow the fuck up too. You can't say things like that. That's silly.
We've
That's
always
the culture
relied on.
we live in.
We should be able to rely on the mainstream news. And I know I'm going to get a lot of emails about the mainstream.
Eddie
news.
Bravo is calling you right
I know,
now.
but we should be able. We should rely on them to at least report the facts. Man.
Yeah.
At least objective facts. That was the whole point of journalism. They were the fourth estate. They keep power in line.
Yes.
They speak truth to power. That's the whole idea in a democracy. You need a free press. But now with money, ratings, it has corrupted. Well,
Says Bellator rigged it to protect their investment.
Paul Daly, you're a monster. When he's on, he's a monster. There's no man on the planet who. I mean, think about what he did to Lorenz Larkin, right? Lorenz Larkin is a really technical striker, and Paul Daly,
Top 10.
he lands that fucking left hand on you. You forget your childhood.
he's been fighting.
I'm
been fighting
disappointed. He
since-
says MMA politics and Bellator protecting their investment. I fell 1-3 rounds to 2. In my opinion, I beat that fool. Really close fight.
I can't see how he thinks he won 3 rounds, though. Like, if they give it to Daly, I'm like, all right, fine. We all lost. The fans lost. But how he says 3, I'm like, all right, that's fine.
I don't know. It's
It was a bullshit fight all the way around.
It was.
it wasn't the best fight.
Oh, it was.
Wasn't a lot going on.
What? Nothing.
Wasn't the
Too
best
cautious?
fight. Yeah,
is watching two blue belts grapple.
Yeah, Daly kept trying. Daly took him down. Then he lost position once, and MVP got on top of him and beat his ass. Got his back. I thought he was going to choke him out.
Me too. I thought he had
Yeah.
a rear naked there for a second.
Yeah. I was amazed that Paul Daly was able to take him down, though. I mean, he really made some big improvements in his wrestling. I mean, I guess maybe he felt like after the John Fitch fight, if you can't beat him, join him.
What a great. This is a great fight, man.
Yeah.
Wow,
John
6 seconds.
The idea that a guy actually had a fuck island. I mean, it's.
That's what Ricky Gervais was joking about last night.
Did you watch
Of course
that?
he was.
Hilarious.
Of course he was. No, but I did see the one clip that somebody put on the internet about him saying, "Don't virtue signal. Just come out here and get your little prize. Go fuck off, because nobody cares about your opinion." I was like, "Thank you, Ricky. Thank you. Thank God that guy swings. He's out there swinging from the hip, chin up. Doesn't give a fuck. Telling it like it is. I love it."
He went after Apple
love
in
it.
front of Tim Cook. And they showed
Dude,
Tim Cook's
How
face.
crazy
I
was
wanted-
that shit? He went after Apple. Then he said, if ISIS opened up a studio, you all be sending your resumes. Is that what he said? Something along those lines?
You'd all be like, streaming service. You'll be contacting your agents or something.
Yeah, that's what he said. Like, fuck, man. Good for him.
So those are all pre-written, right? Because they had to have those cuts ready to go.
I don't know, man.
Maybe
He's
just
so
went for it.
badass. He might be able to do whatever the fuck he wants. You know, he's Ricky Gervais. He's got the ability to probably say, "Oh, I'll do it, but I'll do it this way, and only this way." And they're like, "Okay, Ricky, we love you. We love you. We know you wouldn't do anything to jeopardize our amazing organization, and we all love working with you here at the Golden Globes. And it's fun. I mean, you stir people up, and everybody knows you're a good guy." And then he goes and hits him with genocide talk and shit. Like, hey. Apple must have been so pissed. We were just getting away with using all that slave labor and nobody even noticed. It's another thing like this murder, right? It's like that's just how everything was done. That's just how everything was done. That's how they whacked everybody. And that was how you got things built cheap. They used slave labor, but nobody knew. Nobody really understood until you saw things like Foxconn. You were like, wait a minute, this is a good setup? You guys are working 16 hours a day. You sleep in the building? This is a good place? This is good?
Yeah, the stories of people, Amazon workers like running around and peeing themselves. So they can get
Oh,
shit done
yeah.
quick.
Yeah, they have some crazy countdown thing that goes when they get an order and they have to run to go get it. Probably a fun job if you're into losing weight. Put on some ankle weights and shit, maybe a weight vest, and just run around that thing. You'd get a fucking vicious workout. That's making lemonades out of lemons.
That's right, Joe. Everything's a workout. You could be working as a waiter at Applebee's, and that's a
That's
workout.
right. Think about it, man. Just with heavy weights around your waist that no one would notice. Just make it. You could have a good workout while you're working. The Apple thing, that had to sting.
Well, he was sitting right there too.
I
They
know.
show him right before he started saying it, but he
What
did throw in the
exactly did he
Amazon.
say? What exactly did he say?
Something about
Apple?
using sweatshops and stuff like that right in front of him. But I mean, Foxconn it's a sweatshop, but it's done like it's probably like the best version of a sweatshop. You know, like it's a real company and it's
Best
not.
version of a sweatshop's hilarious.
I mean,
though.
Foxconn works in the United States now, don't
Right.
they? So it's like at least.
Do they?
Yeah, I think they actually have, or they're about to have companies here in the United States.
I remember this is something that Trump had talked about, right?
Yeah.
On top of the annual, Gervais ended his monologue by telling the nominees, "So if you do win an award tonight, don't use it as a political platform to make a political speech. You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg. So if you win, come up, accept your little award, thank your agent and your God, and fuck off, okay?" Oh, the swear was beeped out by NBC. He was also beeped for his use of profanity in two other jokes. One where he called Cats James Corden a fat pussy. And another where he discussed the same film's Judi Dench licking her ass. Wow. The comedian, however, also peppered the monologue with references to Me Too and contemporary issues. He started off by noting that it was his 5th time hosting and therefore he didn't care what flack he would take. Then he punched in with a nod to last year's college admission scandal. "I came here in a limo tonight and the license plate was made by Felicity Huffman." He said, good for him.
It doesn't have the Apple.
He's a real comic.
It doesn't have the Apple quote though.
He's a real comic. That's look. There, right down. It said
Down a little.
It said a little lower than that. It
Apple
said
TV.
Apple. Yeah. While discussing the addition of Apple TV Plus to the room, Gervais noted the irony of a Me Too themed show like The Morning Show being made by a company who runs sweatshops in China. You say you're woke, but if ISIS started a streaming service, you'd call your agent. We're going to get this right, folks. I really believe this.
Good for you.
This is what we were talking about earlier about everything being bad. I don't think it is. I think it's just a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise. A lot of people yelling.
It's swinging back around already.
It's swinging back around. We're human.
Yeah.
You know, we have weird things where everything's changed. It's all changed now. Everything's changed. Okay. Relax. We're okay. We're going to be all right. The world's fucked. We're fucked. It's all ending. Attributed, or some people at least are attributing that to Genghis Khan killing somewhere in the neighborhood of 10% of the population on Earth.
Damn.
1 out of 10.
He killed more people than AIDS.
Yeah, definitely, right? How many people did AIDS kill, if you had to guess? Someone was just talking about that recently and saying no one should die from HIV anymore. No one should die of AIDS. It literally shouldn't have to happen anymore. Isn't that crazy? Just take medication now. When we were kids, everybody was terrified of AIDS. AIDS was the death sentence. While eating Twinkies, terrified of AIDS. While eating the thing that's slowly killing you, terrified of getting some AIDS. Jesus.
One little kid gets it, everybody doesn't want to go to school no more.
Dude.
Remember that one kid?
Yeah.
They stopped going to school.
Yeah.
The magic got it and everything was all right.
Magic got it. I remember being in my car. I was in my car. I was living in Revere, Massachusetts.
Revere.
Yeah, this apartment complex. And I was driving my car. And I was on the road listening to the radio. Like, you know, you see where the traffic lights are. You remember. It's like burned in your brain. Like, Magic Johnson has AIDS? What? In my car. What? I remember thinking like it was a scene in a vampire or monster movie or something. Like a zombie outbreak. Like, oh my God. Now it's reached one of the greatest basketball players of all time. This is insane. Are people going to just start dropping off like flies now? Are people going to start...
Did you start wearing condoms right away afterwards?
I don't think so.
Me neither.
Did you?
No.
People are animals, bro. People are savage. They're savage. I mean, there's a reason why there's 7 billion of us. People need to stop pretending that when they're, you know, fully aroused that they're thinking straight. Like you're operating at about like 10% of your normal resources. You're like AIDS, whatever. Who's got AIDS?
You still got AIDS? I thought they got rid of that with a code.
Well, it's crazy that it was just primarily gay people and drug users that were getting it. It's what a weird disease, man. That's a weird one, man. That's a strange thing that when your body starts weakening and shutting down, like, whoa. But when you really think about the actual danger and death, like I think even while AIDS was in its height of killing people, I don't think it was killing people as much as the flu was, right?
The numbers I'm finding now are depending on worldwide or U.S. So worldwide, tuberculosis is now killing more people than AIDS. But this says that only 1.1 million people today in the U.S. are living with AIDS. And I think I saw...
But living with AIDS is like you're at the border of getting AIDS. Is that what it is? It's like you have supposedly, this is, and again, I'm not a doctor, right? Supposedly it's like you have HIV, your immune system gets weakened, you catch AIDS, which is acquired immune deficiency syndrome, which means your T cell levels have reached a certain count where they identify it as AIDS, right?
Yeah, I actually did type in AIDS, and this is going to HIV. So
they're definitely connected. So it's not people that also their immune system fails that's outside of HIV.
Yeah, so I clicked on this. I'll show you what I clicked on. So I typed that in, and this is showing this. It says that 1.2 million people have received an AIDS diagnosis since the early 80s.
Since the early 80s. Okay. So 1 million people, and there have been 12,000. In 2014, there were 12,333 deaths due to any cause of people with diagnosed HIV infection ever classified as AIDS. And What does that mean?
Yeah, then it's 6,000.
That's a weird way of saying it. With people, well, I'll say it again. It says there were 12,333 deaths due to any cause of people with diagnosed HIV infection ever classified as AIDS. Isn't that a strange way of saying that?
Yeah.
I don't know what that
Maybe
means.
you can lose the classification if your immune system gets strong enough.
I don't know. It says with diagnosed HIV infection ever classified as AIDS. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'm too stupid for that.
Because what I also saw was that 1 million people died last year from it, but that would be worldwide. And this then contradicts because this says 1 million people have only been diagnosed, and this is only in the U.S., and that other number is worldwide, so it gets really sketchy.
And it says 6,721 deaths were attributed directly to HIV.
Yeah.
So it seems that they definitely think it's still killing people.
Definitely still is, but
Tuberculosis, though?
yeah. It's
But what
still
is
high.
how many people die from the flu every year? What would you think would be the most ruthless normal killer? Would it be the flu? The flu would kill the most people. 36,000.
I was gonna say about 30.
way more people got jacked by the flu
This is every year. Yeah.
every year.
Yeah.
And what was the number from the AIDS number was total, right?
How many of those people got
1,000.
flu shots, though?
What is it?
This
How
was
many of those-
12,000 in 2014, so it's a third or so.
So what's a third?
AIDS to the flu. AIDS is about 1/3 of the deaths of the flu per year ish.
Yeah.
On average, I don't know if.
Isn't that interesting? It's like we're not scared of the thing that kills us way more. We're really scared of the thing that kills less people because it kills them through butt sex. That's what it is. It has to be. We're terrified that it kills people through sex. Because like the flu, it seems, is like we should really be concentrating on that thing. That thing's killing way more people.
People not washing their hands.
But they're like, look, we can't stop that, but we can stop all this butt sex. It's weird, right? It's weird, like when we, maybe it's just because it's a new thing that was killing people, because it didn't exist and then it did exist. That's probably what it is, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, because it came out of nowhere, because it was in like, what was it, during the 80s?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Eddie Murphy said, and you're walking around with that AIDS on your lip.
Oh, was that,
Delirious.
do you remember Sam Kinnison's bit on it? He goes,
No.
they say, Sam, you shouldn't make fun of AIDS. AIDS, Sam, is a communicable disease. Straight people can get it too. He goes, name one. Name one fucking guy. It's not our dance. He had this crazy, dangerous bit about it. And like way back then, like, whoa.
It's like 0 and around like 1980. I don't know if that's accurate, but
So 1980 was the highest peak.
maybe it's in thousands. So
Yeah, it seems
19
like
is low. So the highest
seems
was
like
around 91.
it seems like
92.
late 70s, right? Is that somewhere around 1980?
The one thing too, I read that there was around 300,000 total deaths, and a third of them were in New York.
300,000 total deaths, a third in New York, and the flu. And this is all told ever.
Again, these stats are all on multiple pages, so I think.
But here's
so,
how many of the. See, I get so confused about all this shit because some people believe that a lot of these people also are shooting heroin. A lot of these people are also doing a lot of drugs. I would wonder, if they're really partying hard and they also get AIDS. I would always wonder, like, how much of you partying hard is destroying your immune system too. Like, if you have a disease, like say you have cancer, and you're struggling with cancer, and you just decide to hardcore start smoking meth, and then you die from the cancer, like, didn't something else kill you too, right? Not saying that the cancer's good for you. Cancer's certainly bad for you. But if you have cancer and you just decide to go on a meth binge and destroy your immune system, it's got to contribute to your health. But we don't consider that. We don't consider, the cancer got him. Cancer got him. It did get him. It definitely did get him. But he was also smoking meth all day.
Feeling good. Doing robberies.
Doing robberies with fucking skulls painted on his
Getting
forehead.
fights at 7-Eleven.
Yeah, man. He was amped. Dude was amped with cancer. That's also, I mean, if he dies of a heart attack, like, the cancer gave him a heart attack. Yeah, probably. That probably had something to do with it. Definitely was not good. It's definitely not good to have cancer. But it's also not good to be smoking meth while you have cancer.
Smoking meth, that's bad.
So how many of these people that got AIDS were like extremely healthy folks that like, you know, jogged on a regular basis and ate a lot of fruit and vegetables.
It's really hard to get that data.
I know. I would like to get that data. This is not like a prejudiced perspective. I'm just as a curious person. I would like to get all that. I would like to know, what is it that actually does it? Is it the meth that kills you? Is it a disease that kills you? Is it a combination of all these things? We always want to attribute death to one thing. But I would imagine that with all the people that have died of the flu, there's a number of deaths where you look at the flu, you're like, man, the flu could just catch you. The flu could just catch you. And, you know, catch you when you're already weak, too. Maybe you're run down, you've been working too much, and then the flu hits you when your immune system's devastated and it gets deep into you and gets you. Everybody's vulnerable. I mean, the thing about diseases that's so strange to me is that some of them are associated with certain groups of people, like AIDS. Like AIDS is one of those ones that's just so associated with gay people that it's like a really politically charged disease, and we concentrate on it like really heavily. But I really think it wasn't just the gay thing. It was also that it was new. There was a new thing that was killing people. We were always worried about that, right? There's always these pandemic movies where some new crazy disease breaks loose and just runs rampant, and we don't have an immune system for it. People start dying, and they need to get the medication to the people and get it to the baby quickly. Oh, we made it.
People are afraid to get on subways.
Yeah,
SARS.
Yeah. There's always some shit like that. We're always terrified of some new shit that's going to get us.
Swine flu, chicken flu.
So AIDS had a dual disadvantage. One that was connected to gay people. And people are like, oh, what are they doing over there? What are they? And then people,
I'm not going to get it. I'm not gay.
Yeah, exactly. There was that. And then there was also,
blood transfusions, car accidents.
Oh, that's right. People were worried about getting from blood transfusions.
So that means back then they were just letting random people donate blood without checking it.
I don't think they had a test for it for a while. I think for a while they didn't have a test for it. Then they have to find antibodies in your blood or some shit. Like, but it's so weird that while this is all going on, how many people are dying from cancer every year just from smoking cigarettes? It's fucking crazy numbers. Crazy numbers. People dropping like flies. And no one thinks about that when you see a guy smoking a cigarette. You don't think that guy's killing themselves. You're like, oh, he's outside in front of the restaurant having a cig. Normal shit. No, that guy's poisoning himself. Like,
or a guy with weak livers.
But it's just strange to me, like, we get really specific about what fears we have in terms of what way we die. And when a new disease comes along, that becomes like one of the most specific ones. But while you're indulging in all these behaviors that'll also kill you in way larger numbers than diseases. It's fucking weird, man. It's very weird. Human beings, me included. China's on the side of North Korea. That's part of the problem. That's part of our problem with negotiating.
They're still
with
technically at war. Most people don't know.
North Korea and South Korea?
Yeah, they signed a ceasefire. They never signed an armistice. Oh, wow. So there's no peace treaty. They just, we'll stop fighting for right now, and it held for 50 years. Did you see what the fuck happened to Hawaii the other day?
Yeah.
What the fuck, man? I
they're
found out
fucking
from
with us.
Kelly Slater's Instagram. I was like, what? There was a fake nuclear or a fake missile warning that a missile was coming in, and they said it was not a drill.
Like, how is that a wrong button kind of thing? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
you imagine that would like go through a few people before it goes out
Right.
to the whole state.
Like,
And-
you know how you have
You know
that
what I
thing
mean? Yeah.
when you're getting a phone call and you have the option
Right, exactly.
to like say, hey, I'll call you back, I'm driving. You know, like it's one of the 2 or 3 options you can just press.
Yeah.
Is one of them, hey, an intercontinental ballistic missile's headed your way, Hawaii?
It's like, oh, here's weather, here's missile, and you hit the wrong. No, it shouldn't work that way. It shouldn't be anywhere near like that. And went out to the whole state.
So stupid.
Yeah,
And those
Lima
people were-
McFarland was on her Instagram. Was like, yeah, apparently there's a missile. Same shit. I was unbelievable.
People were fucking crying and freaking out, apparently. Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Hawaii.
You know, that's a state that's been hit before.
Fuck yeah.
Militarily.
Yeah, right?
So
You got to think, I mean,
Yeah.
the memory of Pearl Harbor, there's people
Not
who were
that.
alive back then.
plenty of them.
Jeremy motherfucking Stevens. Dum, dum, dum. This should be war. I am very excited about this.
Damian Maya.
Can we turn the corner?
Tyrod Woodley.
Tyron.
I
Yeah.
always say Tyrod. Tyron. Okay.
Tyron Woodley. Yeah,
People thought that was a boring match, but for me, there was tremendous data in MMA. The fact, like, Damian Maya goes down to 170. At 170, he takes everybody down. He's taking college wrestlers down left and right. But could he take down Tyron? I thought he could. I thought that he was going to hit a wall there, and he did. How are you going to take that dude down? It's going to be very, very hard to take him down. So what I learned from that is, man, you got to get really good at shooting and doing what Paul Sass is an expert at. Paul Sass is the best I've ever seen in MMA at making pulling guard option 1. He just made it not option 3. I always talk about the third option. I would want my fighter to have the best stand-up possible, the best takedowns possible, get on top, ground and pound and submit them, beat them on the feet if you're beating them. But if you're getting beat on the feet and you can't take the guy down, you better know how to pull guard. You gotta know how to drag dudes down unorthodox ways, not just the regular wrestling way, because you're gonna hit Tyrod Woodley. You gotta throw some like flying Eminaris on him. You gotta shoot deep enough just to get a slight clinch and have something you're gonna jump on, not continue with the traditional wrestling. You gotta shoot, pull half guard, just like Andre Galvao did. When he fought MMA a few times. That's all he did is shoot. Dude sprawled, he just pulled half guard, boom, he got up, double underhooks, got the bag. You got to get creative. The way Nogueira beat Tim Sylvia way back in the day, Tim Sylvia could not get taken down. He was too tall, he had an awesome reach. Nogueira was getting clipped. He couldn't take down Tim Sylvia. What did he do? He shot the best he could, and when Tim Sylvia countered, he pulled half guard. He ended up in deep half, and boom, with the momentum, got up. Swept him, so it was an indirect, unorthodox takedown is what happened. If you shoot, pull guard, and then sweep, that's the takedown. You end up in the same place. So he went around the wall, and he ended up guillotining him, put a guillotine from the top. You got to have that. And you know what? He was pulling guard before. Damian Maia did pull guard before, early in his career. And
Tyron just wasn't having it. He didn't. That wasn't an option. Tyron's takedown defense
that was the
so
last.
good.
That was takedown defense. Yes, that was the last option. But this is not. I'm not talking about traditional takedowns. I'm talking about the art of. Watch Paul Sass. He would take deep shots.
I totally understand.
It's the timing. You can't just sit on your butt.
I think
not
really
just butt
what
flopping.
it's going to take with a guy like Tyron Woodley is you're going to have to get a wrestler who's like a elite, high caliber wrestler that's going to be able to figure out how to take him down. I don't think like a regular dude like Damian Maia, who's not a regular dude, who's a world-class grappler. But did you hear Dominic Cruz's criticism of his takedown attempts, that he wasn't following through enough, and what he was saying technically was wrong about his approach? Yeah. You know, I think that if it was a real world-class grappler, you know, a real, you know, top of the food chain amateur wrestler.
But at 170, he's taking everybody down. He looks like the best wrestler. And what he said about the fence, because most of Damian Maia's takedowns, a lot of them anyways, are against the fence. He's really good at going double underhooks and doing some inside trips or outside trips.
Tyron defended all that shit.
Yeah.
But you know what else Tyron did? He clipped him with a huge uppercut in the very first exchange. The very first time Damian tried to close the distance, Tyron hit him with a vicious uppercut, and he fucked his left eye up. Damian's left eye was fucked up from the very first exchange. When Damian shot low, Tyron hit him with a hard uppercut, and just his eye immediately swelled up, and it was fucked for the rest of the fight. So I think that played a factor too. Just Tyron's game plan was, in a lot of people's eyes, wasn't fun to watch. That was the problem. And like Dana felt like he should have finished him. And Tyron, his thought was, look, this guy's, it's his goal is to win the title. You got to come and try to beat me and win the title. If I'm beating you, why not just keep doing what I'm doing and continue winning the fight? You can't do anything. But if I change tactics and make myself more vulnerable. And he said he did get hit by a left hand or a couple left hands, and that stunned him. I guess his attitude was, look, if this guy wants to win the title, he's got to come and get it. And if he comes get it, I'm going to knock him the fuck out. And if he doesn't come and get it, why would I go after him and put myself out of position?
I would coach Woodley the exact same way. I would be yelling from the corner, just keep doing what you're doing. Don't fucked up exchange, and he gets a shot in and takes him down and trips him. He tries to get up on his knees, jumps on his back in that little scramble. Yeah. One little scramble like that, boom, you just fucked your whole shit up.
Damian is not the best puncher in the world, but he's not the worst either. He can fuck you up. If you make a mistake, and if you rush in and maybe he's reserved more energy than you think he has, and he fires a very fast straight left hand and catches you on the chin, he could fuck you up.
Yeah.
He could fuck anybody up. He's not incompetent on the feet. He's just not at the same level as Tyron. And he doesn't have the same movement as Tyron does.
Do you think Damian should... What if Damian had kicks more like, maybe not exactly like, but more in the vein of Edson Barbosa
Oh, yeah.
or a Yair Rodriguez.
Oh,
Wouldn't
yeah.
that be a whole nother dimension?
Well, he doesn't even have to be like that. How about just like Pedro Hizzo? Just attack the legs.
Yeah.
Just make the legs.
He's not doing that, right?
No, very
He's
little.
just boxing.
Well, Dominic brought it up one time during the broadcast because he's like, I want to see Damian throw a high kick, a left high kick. I go, yeah, but I go, have you ever seen Damian throw a left high kick? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I have either. I don't know if he's ever done it. I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I don't think I've ever seen him try it. Like he doesn't. I think he's such a specialist. His specialty is just get you to the ground, strangle you.
He should
Get you to the
spend.
ground,
I would
strangle you.
suggest. I don't know. I ain't shit, but I would like to see Damian Maia with adding to his arsenal, adding more
Yeah.
kicks, adding more
For
weapons.
sure.
Like why not?
For
You know?
sure.
Shit.
But even if he did, the problem is it's like Tyron is just so fucking strong and so good at stuffing takedowns, and he hits so goddamn hard. It's like you'd have to be like on him, and you got to figure out how to actually get him to the ground, have full control of him, and good luck with all that. I think maybe one of the most impressive things, or confusing, or unexpected, was how fucking good GSP looked. The dude's gone for 4 years. Comes back, and immediately I see him moving around and popping the jab, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, he looks like GSP.
I wasn't that. And everyone's like, oh, here's Shab the hater. No, I wasn't that in love with GSP's performance.
You weren't?
I thought he looked good. I thought he looked heavy. I didn't think he looked as, obviously he put on some pounds.
He was thick.
He was thick, like
Yeah.
Three Musketeer thick.
Yeah.
I thought he put on some pounds, and his cardio wasn't that great. And he had
Well, he
cardio for
definitely-
days before.
Yeah, he definitely was suffering a little bit because of that, and also it has to be a big factor. 4 years off, just the nerves and all that jazz.
Huge factor.
And the struggle to hold Bisping down. Bisping's fucking hard, and honestly, taking him down was one of the worst things that could have happened. He got cut the fuck up. from
Bisping
the top.
didn't work down there.
Yeah.
And what I was worried if it went to decision, I thought Bisping's actually winning, even though GSP got him down for that portion. If the hopefully the judges see that Bisping's doing the damage down there.
Oh, for sure.
That should count in their eyes.
I agree 100%. The only time that's ever really counted, though, in a fight is Kevin Randleman versus Boss Rutten. Remember? Kevin Randleman took Boss Rutten down, but Boss Rutten was beating the shit out of him from the bottom, and Randleman didn't do anything. But a lot of people were super outraged after that decision. That was a weird one because most of the fight was spent with Boss on the bottom and Randleman on top.
That's old school. I think GSP obviously looked great, passed the test. I always look what's next. I thought Bisping was super hesitant because for this reason they trained earlier, right? They trained in 2008, and I guess 2006, so a while ago. I guess GSP just kind of mopped the floor with him, like kind of did whatever he wanted. So then I think GSP's camp and their thinking was, all right, middleweight's really not where we should be at, but Bisping's kind of easy pickings for us. We might as well go get the belt from him if we're going to do this big comeback. So I think he thought it was a good matchup, and I think because they trained prior, that wasn't normal Bisping. Bisping pushes the pace. I think he was so worried about the takedown, rightfully so. I don't think that Bisping didn't look great to me either.
No, he looked very
super
stiff.
hesitant and stiff, and he looked like Father Time was like, "Yo, man, tonight's your night."
I don't think it was a Father Time thing. I think it was in the back of his mind. I mean, he was very openly admitting that GSP dominated those training sessions that they had in 2006. And he was saying, look, I'm much better than I was back then, which I'm sure he is, but you can only get so much better.
It's also a mental thing.
Yeah.
Like, damn, when he did that, and he's impossible to get off. So
Yeah.
I think he was very reserved. But I thought after 4 years, hell yeah, George looked good. Did George look good enough to beat like a Whitaker or Yoel Romero? Probably not. Not to hate on not to hate on what's going on right now because the epic night. I just look at the real middleweights, meaning Whitaker, Yoel, Luke Rockhold.
Yeah.
And with those cardio problems, I was like, this was a fun one. And you're crazy if you think he's gonna fight again at 85. That ain't happening.
I don't think so either.
I can promise you that's not happening.
I think he drops right back down to 170.
He's fighting Woodley next.
Yeah, when I was thinking about him fighting, and Woodley's no fucking picnic. That
That's
ain't
not a
good time.
cakewalk.
That ain't a good time.
Matchup-wise, that's very tough for GSP.
But, Woodley's been dealing with a shoulder injury. He hurt his shoulder pretty bad in that fight early in the Thompson fight. And so what he does about that is that's what's up in the air. If he chooses to have surgery, I believe he has, I don't know if he's talked about it, but I think he has a labrum tear. So the question is what he decides to do about that.
I heard him say about Colby Covington, we should talk about him. He's killing me lately, but
Yeah, but
in
I
a
mean-
good way. But he was saying, he goes, yeah, my shoulder's messed up, but it's good enough where I could whoop Colby's ass. Now, is it
Right.
good enough to whoop GSP? Probably not. But Whitaker's out too.
Yeah.
If you-
But
if you-
Whitaker's almost back.
If they do another intern belt at welterweight, I'm gonna bust. I'm gonna freak out. If there's more intern belts, I'm gonna freak the fuck out.
If they do it, who would they do?
Well, if Woodley has to do surgery and then GSP's like,
Wonder
nah, I'm
Boy
not
versus
fighting.
Covington.
Oh my god. Or GSP versus someone down there.
GSP versus someone would get a lot of press.
Yep.
They think they got over 1 million pay-per-view buys Saturday night.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I thought it was gonna do around 700s.
They might have got 1 million just from Canada. They said Canada was tracking higher than the pay-per-view for Mayweather versus McGregor.
Really?
Yeah.
Canada, come on.
Canada's crazy for GSP, bro.
Love him some GSP.
I mean, he won Athlete of the Year back when the UFC was like not nearly
true.
as popular.
It's true. He's big.
Pre-Ronda and pre-Connor, he won Athlete of the Year in Canada.
Well, now obviously there's the Conor McGregor effect, but there's no one in the UFC who can go to Canada and sell out the Bell Center,
No.
Giant Toronto. Now you can do that. His next
Yeah.
fight, you can go up there and do that.
Oh my God, his next fight, now he's the middleweight champion of the world. Holy shit. Jesus Christ.
You know in his contract, and Dana said this, but contracts are like pinky swears in the UFC. They're kind of like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think, in his contract, he said this, and it's in his contract, he has to defend the middleweight title. But again, I don't think it's going to happen. Because you hear, if Freddie Roach talked about how 85 is not where he wants to be at, when they asked him what's next. And then also, remember, all this adds up. It's easy to figure out. You don't have to be fucking Sherlock Holmes. Whitaker was cage side. If that fight was next, the way you rip your promo is bring Whitaker into the cage. They're like, nah, son, you're good. You sit there. You ain't coming in here. We don't need that right now.
Sober October's over.
It's definitely over.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Whitaker, I'm sure would want that fight. But
Hell yeah, he'd want that fight.
I don't think GSP was ever really considering it.
No,
it?
I don't. It's just not a possibility.
I think GSP.
Woodley's next.
But, yeah. With Woodley injured, here's the real crazy question. If Connor defends against Tony, and that's a big fight.
Which I heard is in March. That's the rumors.
What do you think about GSP versus Connor?
I know, right? I'm whispering because it's crazy. A lot of things have to happen in
Lot of
order for that
things.
to line up. So Connor would
GSP
have to
has
beat
lose
Tony,
a shitload of weight.
which I think
Dude is
he's
a
down to do.
He was a gorilla. When I interviewed him at the weigh-ins and I put my arm on him, I was like,
He's too
what
thick,
in the
though.
fuck, dude? He's giant
Yeah, but
now.
it's too much. It was just too much. It was like
huge.
Yeah. It's just
He's way bigger. Like, he looked like 200 plus pounds when he got into
his
the
frame's
octagon.
so much bigger than Connor.
Yes.
But just the magnitude of that fight, they do it at a catch weight. That's a super fight. When we talk about super fights, now that's
Yeah.
a motherfucking super fight.
It would have to be at 170, but if they did do it at 170,
Connor would have to get through Tony.
Yeah.
GSP's going to have to beat Woodley, and then you get an end of next year. There's a lot that has to line up because Connor
That's a
beating
big if.
Tony's
Beating
a
Woodley's
tough
a
one.
giant
But
if.
even if he doesn't, it's still a super fight, right?
if he loses by devastating knockout, it's not a super fight.
Yeah, you know,
We're
I'm
probably
trying to see
not
that.
going to see GSP again. You know, the thing about Woodley is if Woodley wins, you're probably going to the hospital.
Unless your name's Wonder Boy, and then
Well,
you're probably going to sleep
yeah.
on the couch as a fan.
Well, Wonder Boy fight at least went to decision, but there was moments in that fight where it looked like Wonder Boy was going out.
Hell yeah.
I mean, Woodley puts people. Excuse me. Woodley puts people to sleep. I mean, he hits fucking hard. But here's the question: like, how much damage has been done to his shoulder, and what needs to be? I mean, it's a labrum tear, whatever sort of a tear it is. Can it be fixed with stem cells? Can it be fixed with rehab, or is it damaged to the point where he's going to need surgery? Because if he does, he's likely out a year. That's what Kane had. Kane had labrum surgery. He was
Correct.
out for a year.
It's a rough one too to
It's a
come
rough
back
one.
from.
Yeah, it's not an easy road back, and especially, excuse me, if you're someone who has that wild punching style like Woodley, think about how much fucking torque that guy puts in his punches, and he might be the heaviest hitter in the history of the 170-pound division. You watch that fight with Josh Koscheck, or watch that fight with Jay Heron, up until like Australopithecus or something like that.
Yeah, what really seems to matter, though, is the ratio of brain size to body size.
Right.
Right. There are plenty of animals that have bigger brains than us that obviously aren't smarter than us.
Like an elephant.
Elephants, blue whales. I mean, a blue whale brain's probably the size of this room.
Do we know if elephants are fucking super smart? Because isn't the thing about intelligence is not just like there's communication between elephants for sure, and we know that they recognize each other after long periods of time.
Yeah.
Like 20 years apart, they get together and they see each other and recognize each other instantly.
Sure.
So there's an intelligence there, but what we judge intelligence oftentimes depends on whether or not it can communicate with you, whether or not it changes its environment, builds a structure.
I mean, to me, this is one of the deepest questions in life.
Did you ever see the elephant that painted a picture of itself?
Sure. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. In Thailand, I think.
Yeah. Pull that up. That is one of those things where you go, okay, wait a minute. A dog can't do that. I thought you said this thing was as smart as a dog, because that's 100 times smarter.
And
than
there
a
are
dog.
like gray parrots that have 300-word vocabularies or something.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, don't quote me on the number, but Jamie can look that up.
They can speak a whole sentence.
Yeah, and they can. And there's a guy. I remember seeing this recently. There's a guy who has a border collie who obviously can't talk but understands well over 100 words. And so what he'll do is he'll put all these different toys behind a wall and he'll say, "Go get me the yellow bunny." And there's a yellow bunny, a red bunny, and a green bunny in addition to hundreds of other shit. And the dog will go find the yellow bunny and bring it back.
Whoa.
Go get me the green turtle. And he'll go get it. So the dog knows those words, right?
And also the dog sees in color. I guess it's a predator.
I guess
predators
so,
see in color.
Yeah.
So here's the elephant painting itself. It is fucking crazy because it really looks like itself. And this guy helps it and gets the brush and puts it in its hand. But the elephant is essentially doing all of this with its trunk and just replicating itself. And it's proportional too. It's really dude. That's better than a 4-year-old.
The dude was holding his tusk.
Yeah.
You have to training them to do that, I think.
Well, I'm sure they're training him.
Or is he just pulling so that the brush goes where he wants it to go?
But see, look at the trunk. He's definitely holding. But look at the trunk and look at how much motion is in that thing. How could he possibly be controlling that? He's definitely lifting it up and down and helping him, though.
Yeah.
But what it is they're working together.
Yeah.
The elephant knows to stay in these lines. It's doing it with him. You're not buying it. I'm not buying it.
That hand on the tusk.
It's not got a mirror or anything.
That hand on the tusk is a little rough.
See if there's another one.
Well, there are other ones, but
let me see the other one.
There's just articles that say that they're being trained to do it, and it's cruel or something.
Yeah.
Okay, this one right here. This thing doesn't have anybody's hands on it. I think this is the one that I had seen before. Let's see if this guy
in any case,
puts his hands
the
on it
question of intelligence is so much more complicated than we generally credit it with.
Right.
Not only among animals, but also among humans. There's this big controversy that's, perennial controversy that's being raised
this is a
again.
problem. Right now, we're looking at another video, and this is the one that I had seen.
And nobody's
touching his
nobody's
tusks.
controlling him here. Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have any tusks, it looks like. Does he?
I don't see any. No.
So that looked like the guy was just giving him the brush and he was doing it. Why don't they pull back, though, so you could see if that's true? See, this is the one that I had seen before. I hadn't seen the other one.
Well, this is unassisted.
Yeah, this is unassisted. I would imagine that if you did get a guy like this that teaches his elephant how to paint a fucking picture, that it's gonna become a tourist attraction.
Right.
People are gonna say, "Come watch the elephant that paints the picture, as seen on YouTube." And then next thing you know, you got a tourist business.
Well, and if he always does the same picture too.
Right, draws himself over and over again.
Yeah.
But it's right here, it looks to me at least like the elephant's doing that.
Yeah.
You couldn't even talk a 4-year-old into doing that. So, you know what I'm saying? 4-year, you ever see a 4-year-old do an elephant? You have to ask him what the fuck it is. What is that? That's an elephant. You're like, whoa, that elephant's crazy. What is it doing?
Do you think it knows it's drawing an elephant, or it's...
That's a good question.
Does it draw on a tree?
It probably doesn't know it's drawing an elephant. If I had to guess, I would have guessed that it probably doesn't understand 2D space like that, because if it did, it would start creating art. They would start expressing themselves to each other. They would start drawing directions, go this way. If you start seeing animals do that, that is so far beyond using tools.
Well, that's what bees do.
Yeah. Well, bees do it with smells, right?
And, they do it with a dance.
Yeah, they little wiggle dance.
They give instructions on where the flowers are.
You don't know if this is just more bullshit. It's like you were saying earlier, if they get you and you buy into it hook, line, and sinker, they win. If they get you to think, well, how much else is bullshit, they still win.
Yep.
Because you're looking at everything with sort of this tainted lens now. Everything seems, and in a sense, that's probably the ultimate goal, is to disrupt our social media environment and to sort of hijack the natural conversations that are taking place.
Yeah, and I think it's effective. There's certain, I was in Estonia last year, and they've been targeted by this stuff for decades now. They have a 25% Russian-speaking population. Most of the news that they get is from Russian media, right on the border. They talk a lot about the extreme commitment to educating their citizens, to make them realize that this kind of thing does happen. This is what it usually looks like. Don't share it. Here, just ignore it. Let it go by. And I don't think we are quite there yet. I think that there's still plenty of people in the country who don't believe it happened, or for some reason are completely incapable of separating the Russian social media influence campaign happened from it means Donald Trump's election is illegitimate, or it means Donald Trump colluded. Right? Those are very different statements. You don't have to collude in order for someone somewhere to unsolicited go and support your candidacy. So you can believe two things simultaneously. One, that Trump did not collude and that his election is perfectly legitimate and that this had no impact. And two, that it still happened. And that, I think, is I'm consistently amazed when I read my social media mentions at how hard that ability to hold those two ideas is for people. They just believe that if they're supporters of Trump, they absolutely cannot acknowledge that this operation took place. And or if they are passionate supporters of the far left, it's more of like an equivocation, well, we don't really know if they did it. Well, the U.S. does bad things too. Well, how do we know, So that's where it plays out very differently depending on which part of the political spectrum you sit on.
Well, it falls right into our the issue that we have with cognitive dissonance. If we believe in someone, or if we want someone to win, especially if it's our team or our person or on our side, like I saw a lot of this when Donna Brazile released her book detailing how the DNC sort of rigged the primaries against Bernie Sanders and for Clinton. There were so many people that were Clinton supporters that just didn't want to believe it. I was like, well, why wouldn't you believe this woman? Like, you believed her before when she was supporting Clinton, and then when she leaves, now you won't believe her. Yeah. It's because it's inconvenient. And we're real weird in our binary view. We want things to be good or bad, 1 or 0. This is it. And this is a super complex issue. And it seems like they've been doing this for a long time, and they've gotten really sophisticated at it. And I think there's a lot of people that have been sucked into it that have no idea that it's actually influenced the way they've formed their own opinions. This is where it gets really strange. People are so malleable, and they're so easily manipulated. Many people are. That something like this, like a real good, solid, concentrated effort to try to target these groups that have these very specific interests and really dig in and form roots and then go out. I mean, it's so sophisticated. Their approach is, I'm on one hand horrified, and the other hand deeply impressed.
Yep, me too.
Yeah. Now, was this freaking you out when you had to like go over all these memes and you were actually laughing at them? And you're like, God damn it.
Well, there's that tweet that goes around every now and then. You don't have to hand it to them, and I'm always like, how do I properly convey recognition for the, I don't think we do ourselves any favors by pretending it all sucked and didn't matter and they're incompetent.
Right.
I think that you have to acknowledge that you have a sophisticated adversary that is very capable, that is very determined, that is constantly evolving, and to treat that with the degree of respect it deserves. I think that that's just common sense, actually. I read media on both sides of the aisle, and I feel I try to stay current actually on what memes are percolating in lots of different spaces, in part just because I am always curious about what's organic versus what seems to be disproportionately amplified or what new communities are popping up. I just think I think the spread of information among people is just a very interesting, it's something that interests me a lot. I think crowd psychology is really interesting. I think ways that crowd psychology has transformed as the internet has kind of come into being, particularly with things like the mass consolidation, the ease with which we can target people. We didn't even really talk about that, but the one of the things there's always, even in the decentralized internet, there's always been propaganda, there's always been crazy conspiracy theories, all this stuff, but it's that you can reach the people who are likely to be receptive to it now. And as people self-select into tribes, particularly in this country right now, one of the things that's remarkable is the way in which once you've self-selected into that tribe, and this is the media in your ecosystem, and you share it with your friends, and Facebook ensures that the people who see it are the people who are most likely to be receptive to it. Or if you run the ad targeting, you directly, send it into the feeds of people most likely to be receptive to it. We have this interesting phenomenon where consolidation, targeting, and then these gameable algorithms mean that it's just this kind of information goes way farther, way faster than it ever could have in the past, regardless of whether it's